Hey guys, how's it going? This is BillyEatWorld, and today we're going to be taking a look at a themed loadout inspired by the Swiss Guard. Now you're probably thinking, Billy, these guys don't exactly look like a modern military force, but believe it or not, they actually are. The Swiss Guard are the standing army of the Vatican City and the personal bodyguards of the Pope. Originally, the Swiss Guard were a force of mercenary bodyguards formed in the late 15th century who protected various members of European royal families. The Pontifical Swiss Guard was first formed in 1506 when Pope Julius II hired a constant corps of 200 Swiss mercenaries to act as his personal defenders. On May 6, 1527, during the sack of Rome by Charles V of Spain, in their first and most significant battle, 147 of 189 guardsmen died in the defence of Pope Clement VII. This date is still commemorated by the serving members of the present-day Swiss Guard, and is the date that all new recruits are sworn into the Guard. The Guard currently numbers only 110 members, which makes them the smallest standing army in the world, and also one of the most exclusive. To become a member of the Swiss Guard, you must be a Swiss citizen, you must be male, Catholic, single, and between the ages of 19 and 30. You must also stand at least 174 centimeters tall, have a professional degree or a certificate of higher education, and have previously served in the Swiss military. Clearly though, fulfilling these requirements is only just the tip of the iceberg though in being accepted into the Swiss Guard, because their role is to defend one of the most high-profile figures on the planet. In recent history, the Swiss Guard fulfilled mainly a ceremonial role, but on the 13th of May 1981, Pope John Paul II was shot 4 times in an attempted assassination attempt, so since then the Guard's role has taken on a more active defensive role. The Swiss Guard is now one of the best trained security forces in the world, and when they are actively shielding the Pope, they shed their flashy Renaissance uniforms for a simple suit and tie. It's hard not to see a resemblance to the US Secret Service when they're on undercover duty, and in a lot of ways their roles are very similar and they use similar equipment. The present-day Guard is armed with more than just their ceremonial swords and halberds, with various concealable small arms like the HK MP5 and MP7 submachine guns and SIG P220 pistols. They also use assault rifles and carbines like the SG553 and 552, which are the standard assault rifles of the Swiss Army. In Battlefield 4, we don't have access to the P220, the SG550 or the 552, so I've chosen the P226 and the SG553 for this loadout instead. The P226 and the SG553 are basically improved models of the P220 and the SG552 respectively, so this is still about as accurate as a Battlefield 4 loadout can get. On both guns, I'm running only with iron sights and no attachments other than the ergo grip on the SG553. It's hard to say exactly what attachments the Swiss Guard would actually use on their assault rifles, because these sorts of details are usually kept pretty secret in small specialised units like this. From what I can tell though, the Swiss military for the most part runs their ARs and carbines bare, which is why I've chosen to run my loadout this way. To round out this loadout, I'm only running with the med bag and the defensive perk, and this is for good reason. The Vatican City is visited by millions of visitors every year, and in public the Pope is often surrounded by massive crowds, so throwing a grenade in this kind of environment probably wouldn't be a smart idea. For this reason, I'm not running with any explosives or using any grenades at all, which doesn't really affect my playstyle that much anyway because I don't use explosives that much to begin with. The reason I'm running with the defensive perk is because the Swiss Guard are literally required to put their life on the line to defend the Pope, and this can mean acting as a human shield and taking a bullet if need be. These are just some of the unique challenges high-profile security teams have to deal with that military forces don't often encounter, and this is part of the reason that units like the Swiss Guard are so highly trained and so highly respected among military and law enforcement groups around the world. So anyway, to finish up this video, how does this loadout perform in-game? Well, honestly, the SG553 definitely isn't the sort of weapon that you want to run bare. It fires reasonably fast and has a pretty bad pull to the right, so hitting long-range targets can be a bit of an issue. For close-range targets, it's more than fine though. The ergo grip definitely helps out with this, and honestly, the iron sights aren't that hard to deal with either. As long as you're sticking to TDM and domination servers, you shouldn't have too much trouble doing well with this setup, but at the end of the day, I think it probably could benefit from a decent one-time sight, a laser sight, and probably a compensator. The P226 is much the same in that it does okay when you run it bare, but it could definitely benefit from at least a laser and probably a suppressor as well. Regardless, I had fun running with both of these weapons because I'm a big fan of SIG weapons in general, and of these two weapons in particular. With the changes I just mentioned, and maybe with the addition of a noob tube, I definitely run with this loadout again on just about any game mode. So if you're keen to try out the Swiss Guard loadout, then I definitely recommend that you give it a go. It'd also be authentic to run with the Engineer class and an MP7. But just remember that you're not going to see these guys running around with rocket launchers or slams, so just make sure that you avoid these kinds of gadgets. But anyway, that just about wraps up this loadout, so as always, if you have a loadout that you'd like me to try, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and if you haven't already, please check out all my other Battlefield 4 videos. I've got them all linked in a playlist in the description below. But until next time, see you later and have a good one.